The price of Bitcoin is dropping dramatically, and the question on everyone's mind is, when is Bitcoin going to reverse in value, and when's the overall crypto market going to pick back up into a bull market again? Well, today we are going to try our best to make a prediction as to where that point may be where we see a Bitcoin reversal. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. How's it going, guys? Ryan here, and welcome back to another crypto video, and welcome to all those people who are new to the channel as well. Today we are discussing what is going on with Bitcoin from a price perspective, and are we able to actually determine a clear point as to where Bitcoin is going to reverse in value. And I'm sure this is something that absolutely every crypto investor wants to know, especially those people who are looking to get into crypto as well, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you want to be buying at the cheapest prices possible. So for people who are looking to buy more crypto or get into crypto, the bottom of the market is where you really want to be aiming to get into. And today, basically, what we are going to do is use historical data as well as technical analysis to try and make some clear predictions on where we might be able to see that reversal point, and if it's coming soon or if we still have a while to go for this bear market that we have been in for the past few months. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the computer and start today's analysis. Welcome into the Bitcoin chart, guys. If you'd like to buy Bitcoin or want some free Bitcoin, there are a couple of links down in the description of today's video, but you can see we're currently just hovering around that $37,000 mark. We hit a low the other day on the 24th of January, and that was to a value of $32,000. So that is pretty interesting right about there. But overall, realistically, what is going to happen? We had a big drop occur, and then we came up a bit, and we've continued to drop. This is a typically bearish sign, and you could have said that potentially on the weekly chart, which is what we're looking at right now, we could have seen a bit of a cup and handle forming. But unfortunately, I'd say that handle has well and truly broken. If it was going to be something major, I don't think it would have dropped as far as it has. So I don't think we can take that into consideration. Now, normally I'm on the daily chart, as you can see here, but it's a bit too hard to navigate around what I want to show you guys today. And what I want to show you guys is basically, firstly, the history of Bitcoin drops and why at this point in time the drop from, of course, our high over here of $69,000 to our low, which I just described, of $2,000 is not too significant. And that's due to the fact that that's only roughly a 50% drop that we have seen at this stage. But of course, it does look like we can be going lower, and that's what we really want to determine today. So I'm going to get the volume out of our way first, and I'm going to start moving across our chart here. And as you can see, more and more information is coming to light as we move across, and you'll notice a pattern sort of forms itself. Now, it's quite hard to see until I start zooming in, but you can see that this looks relatively similar. What we have is a consistent pattern of Bitcoin absolutely spiking in value. So on the 8th of April in 2013, what we saw of that week was a high here of $259, and we saw an overall low simultaneously on that day as well of $45. So that's quite interesting, but of course it did descend over time to this value over here where we see a low of $63. But what happened then? We bounced back, and this is a consistent theme that you'll see as far as you want to go back with Bitcoin. Whilst yes, we do spike really high. In this case, we went from basically a low over here of $85 all the way up to a high of $1,163. We then dropped back down only, a few months later on the 7th of April 2014 to a low of $339. And we're talking drops which are of the magnitude of 60, 70, 80% in value. So they're massive, massive drops. And you know what? It kept dropping, as you can clearly see. So as I said, the high over here, 1,163. and we kept dropping. We hit a low on the 12th of January after it looked like there was some recovery to $152. Sorry, I was looking at the high there. $152, and you'll see this pattern continues to occur as we start to move across the chart. But one thing that is really interesting is it seems that the drops we are now starting to experience of recent time aren't as significant as something like potentially what we've seen here back in 2017, 2018. This will be the one that everyone remembers, where Bitcoin hit over $19,000 and then dropped all the way down once again over here to $3,100. So another massive sort of 80% drop, 70% drop there. But it rebounded, came back, same thing again, went up all the way over here to our high 64,000, down over here to the low of 28,600. Now we bounced back up to our all-time high of $69,000, and we've dropped all the way down here. So how far is it potentially likely to go? Well, let's just use 69,000 as our key point. That is the top of where we're basically sitting. That means I'd suggest if we were to lose 50% of value, we would have hit the $34,000 mark. And we've certainly already hit below that point. This right here, what I'm drawing at the moment, is a 50% drop in the value of Bitcoin. And as you can see, of course, on the 24th of January, we did drop down to that point. But we have seen in the past that these drops can be even more significant than that. And that's why I am going to try and put in place where I really think that Bitcoin is going to drop to. Now, one thing we have which is different from every other run is we've had a bit of a drop over here, but then a bit of a spike back up, but it hasn't been a massive spike as we have seen in the past. So in the past, what we see is, if I zoom out over here, we spike up, we drop down, and it doesn't sort of cup back up and spike just higher than, come back down. What we see is just big spikes, it comes down, then another huge spike and it comes down, etc. But this time what we are seeing is a bit more of a conservative jump. So we've, yes, gone up once again from these points in mid 2021 to our all-time highs and jumped about, 100% in value, but we've come back and dropped 50%. But this time we have price action. Price action historically that we can use as key points of support. And as we zoom out, you can see we can't really use these points over here. They're really too low. I don't expect that we'll see Bitcoin getting down to the $19,000, $20,000 marks. I don't think that is realistic to say at this point in time, but I certainly do think it still has room to drop, which is why I'm suggesting that potentially we will drop to previous lows. And our previous low of significance is here in June of 2021, which was that low of $28,600. So let's put in place a key point there. Now from where we are now, that is still quite a significant drop. You're talking roughly about $9,000 US drop per Bitcoin at this point in time still. But if we do extend things out, as you can see, we have some price action in the past here. This has been a major breakout point for us, a major sort of as well point of support. As you can see, we've bounced off it on multiple occasions and almost come back down to it a few other times as well. I really do think that is the lowest that Bitcoin could go. In saying that though, we do have this major point of support still in the way at $34,000. And yes, while we did drop through that briefly, we are now back above it. So I think two key things need to occur for us to see basically a drop in value. First and foremost, we really need to see the volume dump. And when I mean dump, I mean it needs to spike in its volume of a sell-off. So let's bring up one of our indicators, which is our volume indicator. Let's bring that one up and see what's happening. Right now, we're not seeing dumping. Previously, when we got down to these really low values, we see spikes in red candles down here. and that is as a result of people dumping. This time, as you can see, that is not occurring, which is actually showing that people are holding Bitcoin as opposed to dumping it. And interestingly enough, we didn't actually see the same crazy volumes in the buy up as we started to come up, as we have done historically as well. Now, of course, a lot of that is to do with the price, but when you look at, I suppose, when we were over here at roughly the same prices, the green candles were significantly larger than on our previous run. That's showing me, realistically, are we overbought? Certainly not. And if we bring up the RSI, then we'll see that that is certainly not the case. We're not overbought as we had been in the past. When we hit our all-time highs, as you can see over here, we're an RSI of 68.82. That's fine. We're still in the acceptable range. We're below 70. Previously though, we got up to a whopping value of 94.70. That means we needed a sell-off to occur and those dumps were bound to happen. We're not seeing that sort of thing right now. So in saying that, I really can't see big dumps occurring. And that means I think the worst case scenario, if 34,000 breaks, I think the worst case scenario for Bitcoin at this point in time is over here at roughly around 28,500, 28,450, around about that sort of mark. I can't see it going really any worse than that. Let's have a quick look as well at the MACD. Let's have a look at our EMAs. What's going on with those? As you can see, they're still going down, but it looks like our little peak has already occurred and things are now gradually, slowly coming back to the green. And you've got to sort of put these things in perspective. That's why I'm on the weekly chart here. I want to look long term and look at the macro trends that are occurring in Bitcoin itself. And what we have seen in the past is these red periods, they go up and then they'll taper off, and then we'll go into a green period and then we'll go into a red period again, and it's coming in cycles. That is what we have learned to expect from the crypto market. And what we're really looking for now is to start seeing this blue line flatten out, and hopefully at some stage that orange line will cross below it and the blue line crosses up. That will be the point at which we start to see a reversal. But I think when we do start hitting these points down here, of course, where I've been talking, our key support points are, that'll mean that's when we start to see a bit of sideways movement, allowing something like that to occur. And I think we have some serious support here moving into the future. So overall, not looking too bad at this point in time. Realistically, that means for me, my target and my absolute lowest point that I could see Bitcoin going to right now is at 28,500 based on the data we are seeing and based on the trends we've looked at in the past. You know, you're seeing those dumps, 40%, 50%, 60%. We've already had our 50% dump, but we haven't seen massive volumes of sell-offs or anything like that at this stage. It has been relatively relaxed, as has been our increase previously to our all-time highs. And then bringing the RSI back into consideration, we are now very close to moving in towards that oversold region. So I can't see why, for any reason, we would dump significantly. If anything, it's time for this to start to see a bit of a reversal and start to move in the right direction, pending a bit of bounciness off our key points of support here. So absolute lowest I can see it going to 28,450, 28,500, but it has to break below $34,000 consecutively for this to occur. That wraps up our analysis on Bitcoin today, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on where you think Bitcoin is going to reverse down in the comments section below. I really do think that until we do see a reversal of Bitcoin, the whole crypto market is going to be hurting for that period of time. So realistically, if you're wanting to get into crypto or buy some more crypto, I'd be really waiting until we do start to see a bit of a trend reversal and we can have a bit of confirmation that, hey, we might be coming out of this bear market that we have been in for a period of time now. But if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you do leave a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of this sort of content, hit subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. I'll leave it there for today, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Cheers.